To make the most of our singleness, we need to stop comparing and we need to start growing. And I believe that the best way to grow is to build rhythms, because we need to continue to grow in our knowledge of God, our love for God, and our love for people. And the best way to do that is to build rhythms of grace. And this, I need you to know that following Jesus is a choice. It's a choice that you will make every single day. And so the rhythms of your life need to reflect the choice that you have made to follow him. The rhythms of your life. And so be intentional in the rhythms that you're building. And this is what a rhythm is. A rhythm is a strong, regular, repeated pattern of movement. A strong, regular, repeated pattern of movement. And whether you realize it or not, rhythms are being built in your life. And so I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Waking up and checking social media, rhythm. Complaining instead of expressing gratitude, rhythm. Ghosting people instead of resolving conflict, rhythm. Delaying responsibilities until the last minute, rhythm. After a long day, you binge watch a show to escape, rhythm. Going to bed at 2 a.m. every single day, why are you doing that? Rhythm. Jumping in and out of relationships, rhythm. Committing to something and then changing your mind because something better came along, rhythm. Criticizing yourself internally, rhythm. Only going to church when you feel like it, allowing your feelings to dictate your actions, rhythm. Relying on others for spiritual growth instead of taking ownership for yourself, rhythm. Holding on to guilt and shame, rhythm. Avoiding accountability, rhythm. Choosing comfort and convenience over stepping out in faith to follow Jesus, rhythm. Letting our busy schedule take priority over spending time with God, rhythm. We have a choice. We either build our life with Jesus or we build with the world. Whether we realize it or not, rhythms are being formed, and we need to be intentional in which ones are being created. We need our rhythms to align with our faith, and so we need to build rhythms of grace. And so I'm going to give you a list of rhythms that I think, if we want to make the most of our singleness, that we need to have in our lives. And so the first rhythm you need to have is a rhythm of prayer. We need to talk to God regularly. If we're his kids, we got to talk to him. And so in the Gospels, Jesus teaches so many things to his disciples, but one of the things that the disciples ask him to teach them is they say, hey, teach us how to pray. And I think that they got a glimpse of Jesus actually praying, going to the Father. In Mark 1, it said that Jesus, after a long day of ministry, still woke up very early to go up and to spend time with God. And it said right before that he was working late into the night. And he went up to the mountain and just to pray and talk to God. And then his disciples would catch him doing those things. And so they went up to him and they asked him, teach us how to pray. And because prayer is important. It's hard to have a relationship with God if you don't talk to him. And the truth is, some of us go days, weeks, maybe even months without talking to God. If you want to thrive in your singleness, you have to be connected to him. Apart from him, you can accomplish nothing. And so we need to build a rhythm of prayer. Billy Graham said it like this: true prayer is a way of life, not just for use in cases of emergency. Make it a habit, and when the need arises, you will in practice. You will in practice. Henry Nouwen said, prayer is not a way of trying to change God's mind. It's a way of being changed by God. If you want to be transformed by the Spirit, then you need to go to him. You need to be exposed to God. You need to spend time with him, and he will begin to change your mind. So if you want to be changed by God, what you need to do is you need to pray. And you need to build a strong, regular, repeated pattern of prayer, which means that you have to schedule it. You got to schedule it. When I was a young Christian, I asked one of my mentors, and I said, man, it's really hard to pray. What should I do? He said, schedule it until you don't have to. Schedule it until you don't have to. And that's what I did. Now I could say that I'm in a constant state of praying. My conversation with God is never over. And so at 2:42, for a long time, I had an alarm. And I would pray at 2:42 because of Acts chapter 2, verse 42. It says the apostles, they devoted themselves to the breaking of the bread, to the apostles' teaching, and to prayer. And so at 2:42, I prayed every single day. At 1 o'clock on Mondays, I pray for you guys. I don't even know half of y'all. But you can see on my alarm, 1 o'clock on Mondays, I'm praying for young adults because I want to be consistent and constant in my prayers. And so for us, if you struggle to pray, pray, schedule it, and then also pray. But then also, if you could get together with a group of people, there's a team of us that pray every Wednesday around 2 o'clock. And it's the first thing we do. We don't plan anything before we pray. We don't talk about anything. We'll probably chit-chat a little bit, but we pray first and then we plan second. And we just want to build a culture of prayer. So if you want a rhythm of prayer, schedule it until you don't have to. And then I know a lot of us don't even know how to pray.